A very great evening, one and all, and welcome to Elmont Broadcast News. It is me, Devin Johnson, along with my co-anchor Matthew Fabian, my producer Miles Haywood, and our advisor, Mrs. Jerry. Tonight we have the pleasure and the honor to interviewing Elmont's very own chairperson of People Personnel, Miss Caron Cox. A very great evening to you, Miss Cox.
Oh, good evening to you all. The pleasure's all mine.
Oh, and likewise. It is a pleasure to have you here and to be here with you and to get some insightful thoughts about your development as a person and your journey as a person working in the education system. Now, on to our first question. In today's society, why is it vital for you, or why do you think it is vital for young African Americans and students of color to have a strong Black leaders and people of color in positions of power, a person to per se look up to?
Well, I believe, representation matters and diversity matters. And so, for me, my entire educational journey, I didn't have a teacher that looked like me until I was in college. And so, for me, I always felt like I had to speak up for myself as opposed to having someone at the table who really understood my journey, my lifestyle, my foods, etc. So, I just feel that representation matters. You need to have someone at the table that can speak to your needs.
Understood and very well said. Now, actually, when you were growing up, was there a person that you looked up to, whether they were colored or not, a person who you could say that related to you the most?
In each era, like elementary school, middle school, I always was able to find someone. And obviously those people, aside from, my parents, those people didn't look like me, but I don't think that stopped them from being able to advocate for me and help me grow and develop in ways that I didn't even know I needed.
Understood. Thank you. Matthew?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Cox. And I want to ask you, how has being a woman of color affected you in the education system, either during your education or during your career?
So, growing up, my mom, she passed away in August, but one of the things that she always would tell me is that, and the way she phrased it sounds negative, but I understood it. So what she said was, you were born with two strikes against you. First, you're a woman and you're Black. So you have to work twice, if not three times as hard to get half as much. And that was really ingrained in me. So for me, that helped my work ethic. It helped me to understand that nothing is going to be handed out to me, that I have to really work for everything that I am able to achieve. And that's exactly what I've done. Nothing has ever been handed to me. I've had to work hard for everything. And I think that, as a woman of color, that there's a different expectation than my peers.
I understand. And my condolences on your mother.
Thank you.
And how has these experiences shaped the way that you interact with the kids?
So I think with students, particularly students at Elmont, it's important for them for you all to not only understand where you come from, because if you don't know where you came from, you don't really understand where you're going, right? And so for me, it's really important that I move accordingly, because I feel like someone's always watching. You never know who's watching you. And that's a lesson that I even share with, the girls that I deal with in Leading Ladies and so forth. Like, you never know who's watching you, so you need to constantly move accordingly. And also, I feel like I take on sometimes a very maternal role with students, not purposely, but I think, there have been times in my career where students are almost disappointed in themselves if they make a wrong choice or they do something wrong, and they don't want me to know because of that kind of maternal relationship that we've had. And I think that's just from just being there and making sure that I give them my ear and meet them where they are and try to be non-judgmental. It gives them a feeling of safety and a feeling of trust. And so I think with all of that being said, it helps students to really grow, because they know that no matter what, I'm there for them. And even then I have to say, listen, my job is not to stop you from making mistakes. Mistakes are a part of growth. We've all made mistakes. You grow the most when you fail and when you make mistakes. My job is to make sure that you don't make mistakes that will change and alter the rest of your life. And I think that kind of mantra and that kind of attitude that I've had with students has helped me to be successful in building relationships with them.
That is very beautiful. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Devin.
Most definitely. Thank you, Matthew. Very well said from you, Ms. Cox. Very eloquently spoken you are. And commiserations to you and your family for your loss. Your mother sounded like a very wise and proverbial woman. So once again, commiserations.
Thank you.
Anytime. Now, historically, there has been inequity in education for African Americans. Was this influential in your choice to become an educator or a counselor?
Absolutely. So, my counselor in my high school discouraged me from applying to HBCUs. She just didn't understand what they were and didn't think that attendance at an HBCU would have served me well, right? So there was that, which later on down the line, I'm thinking to myself, I probably should have done it anyway, but at the time I didn't know better. And not that changed, me going to a predominantly white institution didn't change me. I just felt like my entire career, I did not have a teacher of color until I was in college. And it's, again, representation matters. You can't be what you can't see, right? You have to be able to see it and to say, so this way, for you, it's not a big deal. Like, oh, are you kidding me? I've had Black teachers, or I've had a Black principal or a Black assistant principal. It makes a difference. And so for me, that was really what pushed me into education. That and the fact that I really, really just loved kids and loved helping to guide and mold them in the right direction to be, contributing humans and adults.
Thank you very much. You certainly have been a very maternal figure within our school, and very much so a pillar of our guidance department. And it is definitely an honor to have you as our chair.
Thank you.
Anytime. Now, Matthew, on to you.
Seeing your fellow Alpha Kappa Alpha sister, Kamala Harris, become the first Black and the first woman vice president, what feelings filled you?
Immense pride. Historically, our government has been a white patriarchy, right? And and it's not just because she's my sorority sister. I think this was major. This was big for everyone. This was big for women of all cultures. This was big for women in all organizations. Because again, as she said, she might be the first, but she won't be the last. And so just so much pride. And, really just we're trying to keep her in prayer that she's able to, affect change in the way that needs to happen in this country.
Absolutely. And would it be safe to say that your club, Leading Ladies, was modeled on these AKA values?
So, sort of, but not completely. In recognition that there needed to be sisterhood fostered amongst the young ladies in the building, that was kind of the beginnings, the birth of Leading Ladies. We definitely believe in our mission is, sisterhood, service, and scholarship, with an emphasis on sisterhood. And so that's kind of where we come from in Leading Ladies. And obviously service and scholarship, these are all, pillars of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated as well. But, I think bigger than that, it's about helping young ladies become, the best that they can be in a world that's not always very supportive of women. So I think yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay, I understand completely. Thank you. Back to you, Devin.
Thank you very much. Now, Mrs. Cox, what words of wisdom would you like to pass on to students who are watching this interview?
Ooh, so many. So ultimately, what I would like to say is that two things. First off, you can get through anything with faith, perseverance, and will. You can get through just about anything. I said two things. I'm going to push three. Two, never be afraid to ask for help. No one is perfect, and there's always going to be someone out there that will be willing to go the extra mile and help you. And third, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. You're not your past. What is the saying? Your present is the present, right? The past is the past. And your present is the present, right? So every day you have the opportunity to reinvent yourself and become the person that you really want to be. And so those are my three things.
Very inspirational of you, Mrs. Cox. And it is definitely an honor to hear those words come out of your mouth. I personally see you as a role model for myself, a person who has done the hard work and has become a person in a position of power. And I think that you are definitely a model for success that many students do want to follow. And I would like to thank you for always being that for us.
Thank you so very much. You guys inspire me, to be honest with you. Working at Elmont Memorial has really been one of the best experiences of my life. And, I continue to do the work because of you all. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, your diligent work definitely does pay off. We have experiences that I don't think other schools are able to have because of you and because of that work ethic that you just had previously discussed, and the will to continue to want to help and the desire to want to make Elmont great. And for that, we are endlessly in debt to you, most definitely.
Thank you.
Anytime. Now on to you, Matthew.
I think Devin mostly said it all there, but we thank you for sharing your knowledge, your experiences, and your valuable time with us. We appreciate what you do, and I speak on behalf of the entire Elmont family when I say this. We thank you for your time, and have a good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Likewise.
And the sunlight hurts my eye. And something without warning